Hello everyone, this is Gamer, and welcome back to the 39 Steps. Let's continue where we last left off, shall we? We're almost done with this game. Masters of Disguise. Hanay is confident he has the right place, but doubts begin to surface when he sees the target. Masters of Disguise. Monday, 15th June 1914, Bradgate, Kent. Where the heck is Kent? Not a country I recognize. Griffin Hotel. A pink and blue June morning found me at Bradgate looking from the Griffin Hotel over a smooth sea. The lightship on the Cock Sands seemed the size of a bell buoy. A couple of miles further south and much nearer the shore, a small destroyer was anchored. Let's look at the ship then. Scafé had been in the Navy and knew the boat. He told me her name and her commanders, so I sent off a wire to Sir Walter. And I believe the second one's over here, right? The lightship on the Cock Sands seemed the size of a what? The size of a bell buoy. Alright, that's the two. After breakfast, Scafé got from a house agent a key for the gates of the staircases on the roof. I walked with him along the sands and sat down in a nook of the cliffs while he investigated the half dozen of them. I didn't want to be seen, but the place at this hour was quite deserted, and all the time I was on that beach I saw nothing but the seagulls. It took him more than an hour to do the job. Everything depended on my guess proving right. He read aloud the number of steps in the different stairs.
34, 35, 42, 47, and 21, where the cliffs get lower. Oh, and 39. Scaife, we have them.
We hurried back to the town and sent a wire to McGillivray. I wanted half a dozen men, and I directed them to divide themselves among different specific hotels, or specified. Then Scafé set out to prospect the house at the head of the 39 steps. He came back with news that both puzzled and reassured me. Scafé's report. Neighbors. Next door there was a new house building which would give good cover for observation, and the villa on the other side was to let, and its garden was rough and shrubbery, however you say that word. The house was called Trafalgar Lodge and belonged to an old gentleman named Appleton, a retired stockbroker, the house agent said. Only 3 servants were kept, a cook, a parlor maid, and a housemaid. The cook was not the gossiping kind, and had pretty soon shut the door in his face. But Scafé said he was positive she knew nothing. The occupants. They were just the sort that you would find in a respectable middle-class household. Mr. Appleton was there a good deal in the summertime and was in residence now. Had been for the better part of a week. Scaffe could pick up very little information about him, except that he was a decent old fellow who paid his bills regularly and was always good for a fiver for a local charity. I borrowed Scaffe's telescope and before lunch went for a walk along the rough. I kept well behind the rows of villas and found a good observation point on the edge of the golf course. The 39 steps, or 39 steps. The England flag. I observed someone leave the house and saunter along the cliff. I saw it was an old man wearing white flannel trousers, a blue serge jacket, and a straw hat. He carried field glasses and a newspaper. He sat down on one of the iron seats and began to read. Sometimes he would lay down the paper and turn his glasses on the sea. He looked for a long time at the destroyer. I watched the elderly man for half an hour, till he got up and went back to the house for his luncheon, when I returned to the hotel for mine. This decent commonplace dwelling was not what I had expected. The man might be the bald archaeologist of that horrible moorland farm, or he might not. He was exactly the kind of satisfied old bird you will find in every suburb and every holiday place. If you wanted a type of the perfectly harmless person, you would probably pitch on that. After lunch, I perked up, for I saw the thing I had hoped for and had dreaded to miss. Her name was the Ariadne. Scaffe said she was a fast boat for her build, and that she was pretty heavily engineered. Well, if you took out the D, it would be Ariane. So, Ariadne? I don't know how to say that name. I'm sorry. Scaffe and I went down to the harbor and hired a boatman for an afternoon's fishing. About 4 o'clock, I made the boatman row us round the yacht, which lay like a delicate white bird, ready at a moment to flee. One of the men was polishing the brasswork. I spoke to him and got an answer in the soft, delicate of Essex. Another hand that came along passed me the time of day in an unmistakable English tongue. Our boatman had an argument with one of them about the weather, and for a few minutes we lay on our oars close to the starboard bow, or bow or bow, whichever. Then the men suddenly disregarded us and bent their heads to their work as an officer came along the deck. He was a pleasant, clean-looking young fellow, and he put a question to us about our fishing in very good English. But there could be no doubt about him. His close-cropped head and the cut of his collar and tie never came out of England. So he's German, huh? In the hotel, I met the commander of the destroyer, to whom Scaffe introduced me, and with whom I had a few words. Then I thought I would put in an hour or two watching Trafalgar Lodge. Trafalgar Lodge. Suspicions. The thing that worried me was the reflection that my enemies knew that I had got my knowledge from Scudder, and it was Scudder who had given me the clue to this place. If they knew that Scudder had this clue, would they not be certain to change their plans? I had talked confidently last night about Germans always sticking to a scheme, but if they had any suspicions that I was on their track, they would be fools not to cover it. Tennis. They played with tremendous zest, like two city gents who wanted hard exercise to open their pores. They shouted and laughed and stopped for drinks when a maid brought over 2 tankards on a salver. Imposters? You couldn't conceive a more innocent spectacle. I rubbed my eyes and asked myself if I was not the most immortal fool on earth. Mystery and darkness had hung about the men who hunted me over the Scotch moor in aeroplane and motorcar, and notably about the infernal antiquarian. It was easy enough to connect those folk with the knife that pinned Scudder to the floor, and with fell designs on the world's peace. But here were 2 guileless citizens taking their innocuous exercise, and soon about to go indoors for a humdrum dinner, where they would talk of market prices and the last cricket scores. Huh. Interesting. I had been making a net to catch vultures and falcons, and lo and behold, 2 plump thrushes had blundered into it. Presently, a third figure arrived, a young man on a bicycle. He was welcomed riotously by the players.
You all right there, Percy?
Yes, you're looking a little hot under the collar.
I've got into a proper lather. This'll bring down my weight and my handicap, Bob. I'll take you on tomorrow and give you a stroke a hole.
They all went into the house and left me feeling a precious idiot. I would rather have walked into a den of anarchists, each with his Browning handy, or face a charging lion with a pop gun, than enter that happy home of 3 cheerful Englishmen and tell them that their game was up. But then I remembered old Peter Pinard. He was the best scout I ever knew, and before he had turned respectable, he had been pretty often on the windy side of the law. Peter once discussed with me the question of disguises, and he had a theory which struck me at the time. He said, barring absolute certainties like fingerprints, mere physical trace were very little use for identification if the fugitive really knew his business. The only thing that mattered was what Peter called ammo spear. Those chaps didn't need to act. They just turned a handle and passed into another life, which came as naturally to them as the first. Peter used to say that it was the big secret of all the famous criminals. This recollection gave me the first real comfort I had twice. I had that day. Peter had been a wise old bird, and these fellows I was after were about the pick of the aviary. It was now getting on for 8 o'clock, and I went back and saw Scafé to give him his instructions. I arranged with him how to place his men, and then I went for a walk, for I didn't feel up to any dinner. It took all my resolution to stroll towards Trafalgar Lodge. On the way, I got a piece of solid comfort from the sight of a greyhound that was swinging along at a nursemaid's heels. He reminded me of a dog I used to have in Rhodesia, Rhodesia. Are we almost done? I already did 39 steps. I already did the Masters. I just finished Masters of Disguise. High tides. Could Hanay have got it all wrong? The final stand will reveal it all. How much time have I been recording? 15 minutes? You know what, ladies and gentlemen? This video is going to be the final video. Here we go. High tides. Let's do it. High tides. High tides. Monday, 15 June, 1914, Bradgate, Kent. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This will be the final video, the finale. Here we go. I arrived once again at Trafalgar Lodge. Scappe's men would be posted by now, but there is no sign of a soul. Doorbell.
Is, Mr. Appleton at home?
Yes, sir. Please, come in.
My plan had been to walk straight into the dining room and by a sudden appearance wake in the men that start of recognition which would confirm my theory. But when I found myself in that neat hall, the place mastered me.
Who may I say is calling?
Richard Hannay.
If you could wait in the smoking room, I'll let Mr. Appleton know you're here.
Realizing my mistake, I pulled myself together and ran after the maid. But I was too late.
Mr. Hannay? Did you wish to see me?
I think we have met before, and I guess you know my business.
The light in the room was dim, but so far as I could see their faces, they played the part of mystification very well.
Maybe. I haven't a very good memory, but I'm afraid you must tell me your errand, sir, for I really don't know it.
Well then, I have come to tell you that the game's up.
All the time I seemed to myself to be talking pure foolishness.
I have a warrant for the arrest of you three gentlemen.
Arrest? Arrest? Good God, what for?
He looked really shocked.
For the murder of Franklin Scudder in London on the 23rd day of last month.
I never heard the name before.
And that was the Portland Place murder. I read about it. Good heavens. You must be mad, sir. Where do you come from?
Scotland Yard.
Though I hadn't an ounce of confidence in me, I forced myself to play the game.
Don't get flustered, Uncle. It's all a ridiculous mistake. But these things happen sometimes, and we can easily set it right. It won't be hard to prove our innocence. I can show you that I was out the country on the 23rd of May, and Bob was in a nursing home. You were in London, but you can explain what you were doing.
Right, Percy. Of course, that's easy enough. The 23rd. That was the day after Agatha's wedding. Let me see, what was I doing? Came up in the morning from Woking and lunched at the club with Charlie Simons. Then, oh yes, I dined with the fishmongers. I remember, for the punch didn't agree with me and I was seedy next morning. Hang it all, there's the cigar box I brought back from the dinner.
After that, for a minute, there was utter silence. The old man was staring at his plate and fumbling with a nut, the very model of innocent bewilderment.
I think, sir, you will see you are mistaken. We want to assist the law like all Englishmen, and we don't want Scotland Yard to be making fools of themselves. That so, Uncle?
Certainly, Bob.
The odd The old fellow seemed to be recovering his voice.
Certainly, we'll do anything in our power to assist the authorities, but this is a bit too much. I can't get over it.
How Nellie will chuckle. She always said you would die of boredom because nothing ever happened to you. Now you've got it thick and strong.
It couldn't be acting. It was too confoundedly genuine.
Oh yes, just think of it. What a story to tell at the club. Really, Mr. Hannay, I suppose I should be angry to show my innocence, but it's too funny. I almost forgive you the fright you gave me. You looked so glum. I thought I might have been walking in my sleep and killing people.
Huh, why do you say walking in your sleep and killing people? That wouldn't make any sense. Unless you have a double conscience? I don't know. To recover my confusion, I got up, walked to the door, and turned on the electric light. The sudden glare made them blink, and I stood scanning the three faces. I made nothing of it. One was old and bald, one was stout, one was dark and thin. They seemed exactly what they professed to be, and I could not have sworn to one of them. I could see nothing to connect them with the moorland desperados.
Well, are you reassured by your scrutiny, sir?
I couldn't find a word. Yeah, I'm speechless too. I thought these guys would be it.
I hope you'll find it consistent with your duty to drop this ridiculous business. I make no complaint, but you see how annoying it must be to respectable people.
I shook my head.
Oh, Lord. This is a bit too thick.
Do you propose to march us off to the police station? That might be the best way out of it, but I suppose you won't be content with the local branch. I have the right to ask to see your warrant, but I don't wish to cast any aspersions upon you. You're only doing your duty. But you'll admit, it's horribly awkward. What do you propose to do?
For a moment, I was very near damning myself for a fool and asking for their pardon.
Meantime, I vote we have a game of bridge. It'll give Mr. Hannay time to think over things. And you know we've been wanting a fourth player. Do you play, sir?
I accepted as if it had been an ordinary invitation at the club.
Yes. Yes, I play.
I felt mesmerized by the whole place, by the air of obvious innocence. Not innocence merely, but frank, honest bewilderment and concern in the three faces. Why is there two shots of the other room? What's going on in the room on the left? We went into the smoking room where a card table was set out, and I was offered things to smoke and drink. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to pay attention to the right side of the frame. The right side of the dining room, because something could happen. Anything could happen. Oh, dang it, it went away. God! The three were talking easily. Just the kind of slangly talk you will hear in any golf clubhouse. I must have cut a rum figure, sitting there, knitting my brows, with my eyes wandering. My partner was the young dark one. I play a fair hand at bridge, but I must have been ranked bad that night. They saw that they had gotten me puzzled, and that put them more than ever at their ease. I kept looking at their faces, but they conveyed nothing to me. It was not that they looked different, they were different. I clung desperately to the words of Peter Pinard. Who's that guy in the background, the photo frame right there, in that picture? Who's that guy? Then it happened. Oh no. Don't tell me I just died. The tapping! Yeah, that guy was tapping last time, I remember. He did that. It's one of the three. It was the movement I remembered when I had stood before him in the moorland farm with the pistols of his servants behind me. Some shadow lifted from my brain, and I was looking at the three men with full and absolute recognition. They're the Blackstone. Appleton. He was the pick of the lot. He was sheer brain, icy, cool, calculating, as ruthless as a steam hammer. Now that my eyes were open, I wondered where I had seen the benevolence. His jaw was like chilled steel, and his eyes had the inhuman luminosity of a bird's. Bob. Ooh. The dark, lean man. He was the murderer. Now, oh, so Bob's a black guy? He doesn't look black in here. Well, he could be mixed. The dark, lean guy. He was the murderer. Now I saw cruelty and ruthlessness. Where before I had only seen good humor, his knife had scuttered to the floor. And his kind had put the bullet in Caroline's. Oh, so he's like a hitman. And last but not least, Percy. ABP. APB. Interesting. Ooh, okay, Percy looks creepy. The plump man's features seemed to dislimn and form again as I look at them. He hadn't a face, only 100 masks that he could assure when he pleased. That chap must have been a superb actor. Perhaps he had been Lord Allo of the night before. Perhaps not. It didn't matter. I wondered if he was the fellow that had first tracked Scudder and left his card on him. Scudder had said he lips, and I could imagine how the adaptation of a lips might add terror. Okay, so Appleton is the brains of the Blackstone. Bob is the hitman of the Blackstone. And Percy is the actor of the Blackstone. Or personally, in my opinion, I think Percy is the master of disguise of the Blackstone. So the brains, the hitman, and the master of disguise. That's crazy. I went on playing, and every second a greater hate welled up in my heart. Alright.
Bob, look at the time. You better think about catching your train. Bob's got to go to town tonight.
The voice rang now as false as hell. I looked at the clock. It was nearly 10:30.
I'm afraid he must put off his journey.
Oh, damn. I thought you had dropped that rot. I simply got to go. You can have my address, and I'll give you any security you like.
No, you must stay.
I'll go bail for my nephew. That ought to content you, Mr. Hannay.
As I glanced at him, his eyelids fell in that hawk-like hood which fear had stamped on my memory. Those are the eyes. A pair of strong arms gripped me round the waist, covering the pockets in which a man might be expected to carry a pistol.
Get your hands off me! Schnell, Franz! Das Boot! Das Boot!
Germans! I grappled the old chap, and the room seemed to fill with figures. I saw the plump one collared, but my eyes were all for the out of doors, where Franz sped on over the road towards the railed entrance to the beach stairs. One man followed him, but he had no chance. I stood staring, with my hands on the old boy's throat, for such a time as a man might take to descend those steps to the sea. Suddenly, my prisoner broke free from me and flung himself on the wall. Whoa. The stairway had been completely destroyed.
He is safe. You cannot follow in time. He's gone. He has triumphed. Der schwarze Stein ist in der Siegeskrone.
There was more in those eyes than any common triumph. They had been hooded like a bird of prey, and now they flamed with the hawk's pride. This man was more than a spy. In his foul way, he had been a patriot. As the handcuffs clinked on his wrists, I said my last word to him.
I hope Franz will bear his triumph well. I ought to tell you that the Ariadne for the last hour has been in our hands.
The end. That's it? So Appleton got arrested. Who escaped? There was Percy, and then who was the other person? Nick Underwood. That's the voice actor for Hanay. That's cool. It was Percy, Appleton, and who was the other guy? Bob. Who escaped though? Though that's weird. I like how you can look at all the art on the left side. That's pretty cool. Is there a way I can skip this? Yeah. That was it. That has been the 39 steps. Anywho, I'm going to have to end my video here. If you like these series of videos, please give this video a like. Comment on this video on how you like this game. This game was pretty cool, actually. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of, button movements because, this is an interaction fiction. But this was pretty good. I actually liked it. It got my attention. I know Appleton's got arrested, but I don't know if Bob and Percy escaped. I don't know. I don't know if they escaped before the explosion happened. I don't know if they died during the explosion. I don't know. They don't tell me, or I didn't see it or pay attention. But anywho, this game or interaction fiction was pretty cool. It got my attention. Anywho, if you like this video, please give this video a like. Comment on this video on how you like this game. Subscribe to the channel to see more game videos like these. Alright, this has been Gamer. Peace out, and I'll definitely see you on the next video gameplay, which I'm going to continue Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, and I'll continue any other games that I haven't played in a long time, which I will do. And there might be another game that I might start. It's a FPS military game. I think it's called Sniper Art of Victory, something like that. I might start playing that. Alright, anywho, bye everyone. And thanks for watching me play this interaction fiction game. Bye-bye.